Van?
What's going on,
You
everybody?
get
Welcome to PCG Live. No, I was trying to transition, and it just wouldn't transition. It was just there, like it wouldn't transition. So that's why I went quiet. Like me
Van.
stopping when I stopped the music was the music actually stopping.
Oh my god.
So,
I'm like, what happened to Ben, man?
what's going on, everybody? Welcome to PCG Live. You may not see everybody. All you can see is me and Kyle. We actually got a full house today. We have our boy Andre, who's usually on. We missed him last week, but I'm sure he's got a lot to share today. What's going on, Andre?
Chilling, man, chilling. I'm ready for the show, bro.
All
I'm
right.
ready for the
Oh,
show.
and then we also got a special guest today, our boy Albert. And I don't know if you guys remember Albert, but Albert's been on the show quite a few times. He's also was on, I think you were on the one of our E3 shows, I think, wasn't he?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So what's going on, Albert, man? How
No,
you been, man?
I've been good, man. Glad to be back on the show, ready to talk about the topics and just make it live.
Yeah, boy.
Yes, sir.
That's what we call it, PCG Live. We don't call it live because we're actually live. We call it because it's live.
Yes.
But we've all been locked in our house and playing a whole lot of video games lately. So we have some news to catch up on. Nothing super crazy, but we do have a pretty good list. But a lot of the topics that we do have will cause for some big discussions as well. So that's going to be a big thing.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I'm surprised they didn't put the Mama's Cooking thing that I sent us.
I
Mama's cooking.
forgot to put that up. We can discuss that though a little bit.
I didn't read the whole article, so I don't know what new controversy is coming up for that, but
I think it was just like an update on like what the issue was.
so let's start off since we have, a couple people that weren't here last week. We can ask what people are playing. So let's start with our guest, Albert, man. What are you playing right now, man?
So, in preparation for right now I was playing Final Fantasy VII, but
Good. I like to hear that. I like to hear that.
so I've been taking the game's amazing. I mean, when we get to that, I got a lot to say on it. I ended up beating RE3 for the first time, and I had played RE2 my first playthrough for the first time as well. So I actually got to play a little bit of. I've been playing a little bit of everything.
hmm I like to hear that, man. I like to hear that. You just dip into like all the pools, right?
Yeah, we knew that both games were coming out within a week of each other. So I had to finish RE3 before Final Fantasy VII.
Well,
And
we were supposed to have Cyberpunk too, but luckily we were supposed to have Cyberpunk tomorrow or tonight. So that luckily got
Thank
pushed
God.
back. Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
God it didn't happen.
yeah. I'm glad a lot of the games got separated because this would have been insane. It would have been insane. But what better time to play all those games than us being in the situation we're in now?
Yeah.
I don't mean to scare you, Andre, but I think my wife's attacking your town again right now.
Oh my God, amen.
Just kidding. She's doing some. I don't know what she's doing. She's playing the
So
guitar.
leave me alone, man. Leave me alone.
So, but yeah. So, what's your thoughts? All right. So Kyle's got to say his thoughts too. Let's get into a little bit of this because I'm very interested to see where you guys are with this, and I can talk a little bit more about it because last week Kyle and I really didn't get super into it. I kept it very basic, but I have a lot more to put in because I am a lot further in the game. Without any spoilers, of course.
I haven't
But
even started it yet.
you haven't started it?
No.
which
It's me
one of the
that started
two?
it.
Oh,
It's me.
oh man, I'm so upset. I don't know
Listen.
how to.
First Pokemon, now Final Fantasy, man. Kyle, I'm really getting frustrated with you.
Albert,
That's like
you
our
need to talk
two
to your boy.
totally polar opposite ends of the spectrum.
Wait,
Yeah,
you
but
haven't
Well, the
played Pokemon
Pokemon's on
yet?
your Switch.
oh my God,
It's on
Albert,
your freaking system, Kyle.
Albert, you didn't know your friend over here, the Pokemon guru, has not even started probably one of the best Pokemon games out right now.
What?
Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable.
Yep,
Hold
haven't even
on.
started it.
Well, all right, that's fine. We can forgive you because there's a lot of other stuff to play. But wow, get with the times, man. That was
Like
last year.
like I every day I pour out a 40 for his Pokemon shield every day. Every time I wake up, first thing I do, crack one and pour it. I'm like, this is for my games that I've not played today. Now I got to
Oh,
do.
Jesus,
Now I
Kyle,
got to do two.
Kyle,
Oh my god.
would you like some salt with that burn?
Well, how about you, Albert? How are you feeling about Final Fantasy? First, before you get into that though, have you played the original Final Fantasy?
Yes,
Okay, all right. And did you go through
yes.
that entire game, the original Final Fantasy 7? Did you get to beat it?
I didn't get to beat the whole game. I made it to disc three, but I put a lot of hours into it.
Okay. Yeah, disc
Because
three.
believe it or
Disc
not,
three is the end. Yeah, that's pretty much the
I,
end.
I had it. I actually had it for PC
Hmm.
and for the PlayStation,
Oh, nice.
but I ended up getting it. So I mean, the my thoughts on the game is that the game was where to start. I'm gonna start with the graphics.
Hmm.
I think with the graphics, I can understand why they took so long and kept pushing out the game to make the game look as beautiful as it can be. And right now I'm on chapter 8. So I
Hmm.
mean I don't know how far along I am, but the game is stunning.
Hmm.
Literally stunning. The visuals, everything that you see from the reactors to just the characters, the fluidity of the game, it's just such a beautiful, well put game that I'm not in a rush to beat it.
Hmm.
I have no problem taking my time. The music's phenomenal, beautiful soundtrack, classic. Um, I think the game itself, the way that they put the structure was really good. The only thing and you know what, I'm not even mad that they split it into two parts because for the longest, I feel like for the longest time, you know how they were talking about making it more
Episodic.
yeah,
Yep.
episodic. They made
Yep.
it seem like it was going to be multi-episodic, and we've seen games where they're like episodic and they're not very long, but
Hmm.
for one game, for a part one, it looks really good, and I mean, I can't wait. Like,
40
I know
hours.
I can't wait for part two. I don't know
Hmm.
when it's gonna come out, but when it comes out, if it comes out with some sort of jumbo statue for $300 this time around, I'm probably gonna get it.
So there's a few comments I'm gonna make on a few things that you said. One of the start with the graphics because the graphics mainly is really what I want to talk about. So anyone that knows me knows that Final Fantasy VII is questionably one of my favorite games of all times. Um,
Question.
because it's touched so many things. Because God of War is up there. God of War, if it's not Final Fantasy VII, it's definitely God of War. So it's between those two. Like I absolutely love the entire God of War series. I love Last of Us. But Last of Us isn't up there. It doesn't have as much history because there's
Oh
only
no.
one game. God of War, there's so many games. Like I said this. I was talking animes with somebody, and somebody asked me what did I like more, Psycho Mob 100 or Full Metal Alchemist. And as much as I hated the end of Full Metal Alchemist, I can't say Psycho Mob is better because Psycho Mob only has two seasons. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
Full Metal Alchemist is it's took you through those ride. You got to go through all the motions. You got to learn characters. You got to fall in love with the characters. You got to hate characters. So Psycho Mob hasn't gotten there yet. Um, so with God of War is how many games deep? Like 6 games deep now. Because you got to
something like
include the
that.
game for PSV and stuff like that. Um,
Mhm.
so with Final Fantasy 7 is one of my favorite games of all times because of the story and how much time I put into it and how much love and passion you got to grow from the characters. But God of War is definitely up there. It's hard to say God of War isn't in a close contender with it. So, but um, with saying that all, Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games. But I was going to be very picky about this game, and I was very nervous on how they did this because I was waiting 20 plus years for this game to come out, and it is finally here. And I wanted to take the game apart for what it was, and graphically I like it. I think visually it is everything what I expected it to be in the sense of how characters look, how the world looks, how the city works, just everything visually. They fill up without being overbearing, if that makes sense. So you can see everything really, really well. Um, with saying that, we also had Advent Children, so we already had an idea of what all this should look like. And yesterday, I compared it to. It didn't just compare it. It hit me saying that, oh my God, I forgot that a lot of this is built from Advent Children because all the characters look like the characters from Advent Children. And as far as like Arius, looks just like how she looked in Advent Children. Cloud looks just like it. Tifa looks just like it. So I'm like, we already had this world. That's why it all looks so familiar. And that to me is such an important part because it's what we all already grew up with, and they didn't try to change everything. Comic book movies never work because they take from the story sometimes way too much, and they make a completely new story, and they could have just called it something else, aka X-Men. Like X-Men series has always done so bad because it's nothing like the comics at all. They just took the name at this point and took some of the characters, but then they changed everything that we love about the characters. Final Fantasy, they said, you know what, we're going to give you exactly what you fell in love with. And to me, that was the most important thing they could do with this game, and they did it, and they added more. So it's not like they took it and changed it. They took it, gave it to you, and added more. So visually, in that sense, I was happy. But there's a lot of pieces in it that I think I don't think it's the best visual game I've ever seen. Let's put it that way. I think God of War looks better. Than that visually. Graphically, like there's a lot of small details that I've been picking up on that I'm just kind of like, they cut some edges. You know what I mean? They cut some corners. From a distance, you can see everything very well, but when things start getting closer, you can start to see the flaw in it. But the flaw is not bad enough to be like, oh my God, this looks like crap. You know what I mean? I've never heard anyone say this game looks like crap. If that
I
all
agree.
makes sense. If that all makes sense. But music wise, man, I've never had a game that hit me more in the feels than this game. Like I just hear music, I hear sounds, like I want to cry. Like I want to cry. Like when I hear it, when I see it, it's so incredible how much they made just like the original game. Even like side missions. I'm gonna spoil this one thing because I don't care because it's so stupid and small. One of the side missions they give you is you have to find one of these little girls in the village cats. Um, and that was a mission that I hated. I hated that mission in Final Fantasy VII because it was so stupid, and like them having me do it again was such a cool thing because it's not something that you would think they would put in the game. And I forgot about that mission until I played it. And I'm like, oh my god, like this is the cat mission. Like this is crazy. So um and there's so much more than that. There's so much more than that that they add in that game that's so little, and I absolutely love that. So this game, man, being a huge fan, I love it. And even bigger, the thing that I love about the game is reading posts from people that I don't like their taste in games at all. Like their taste, their judgment on games, like people don't have to agree with me on video games, but if they don't like or they do like a game, they talk about it, and if what you talk about doesn't make sense, then I automatically kind of like cut you off in any aspects for games. And everyone that I know that's playing this game has something great to say. Even the ones that are really harsh on video games, they absolutely love this game, and that's how I know it's a good game. Is that it's above me, if that makes sense.
I feel like I should have had popcorn for that whole thing. They're like, you go, "Hey, you were saying?" Mhm.
Hey, I was giving you guys those breaks were for you guys to come in, but you guys were obviously allowing me to express myself.
We knew you had lots
It's
to say about that
yeah, me and
game. We
Kyle.
was like, just let him go.
Yeah, me and Kyle been knowing, since PAX, when I gave you them chickens to get in that line, I knew you needed to play and get an idea of like I say, you should arguably, but I feel like Final Fantasy is in your soul. Like that's your soul loving game. Like how me and Kyle feel about Ocarina, I feel like that's how you feel about Final Fantasy. And playing it, I'm at the same spot as Albert. I'm in chapter 8. Um, I'm trying my best to not fly through this game. You guys know I beat games like really, really quick. I've been trying everything I can. I've been taking breaks. I don't take breaks from games. I'll start it and then I'll take like 3, 4 days off and then I'll continue it. And then, but you pretty much said everything I need to be said. Man. There's nothing else you can say to add to that. But I want to hear it from you because I know it's an emotional thing tied to you. So I want to get your take on it. You pretty much said everything I could say about it. I do notice sometimes like when you're up high in the sky and crap and you look down, you can see that the graphics sometimes like look pretty bad
Mhm.
in certain cases, but it's like you said,
Very
it's not to
rare.
the point where it's like, yeah, it's not like it's like, oh my God, this game. It's just like, oh, okay. But that's only because it's so beautiful.
Mhm.
When you see like any type of blemish, it's like, oh, because it looks so good. But
Yeah.
overall, we already talked about this. I definitely think easily, depending on when they release the next part, this is definitely going to be game of the year next to Cyberpunk. It's going to be a battle with them too, I think. But this game is just on the freaking unbelievable, man. Final Fantasy, me beating the old one. Like you said, the coolest part is when you're doing parts and you're like, I don't remember that, and then all of a sudden you see something like the cat part you're talking about, and you're like, oh my God, this was a mission.
Yeah.
And seeing the characters have voices to them now, and how good they do, like seeing the visuals and everything about the cinematic cutscenes. And then there's this one part, I'm not going to say it, and I know you know what I'm talking about, Albert. It is one of the most unbelievable. It's a side mission actually. It's one of the most unbelievable things I've seen in a game in my life. And I'll talk to you later about it, Albert, because I know you passed it. But man, Final Fantasy just has everything you want in an RPG. The fighting system, for me, loving Final Fantasy 15 fighting system, they did it in this and they did it better. There is sometimes the camera can like get behind you or go above you. The lock-on system can kind of be annoying sometimes when you get surrounded. But the switch out between the characters, man, oh my! I'm trying to tell you, this is the first game I played where I'm probably going to use every single character
The game
because
is hard.
yeah, their fighting styles and what you have to do, and it's just something special, man. Like this is one of those games. I'm just gonna say it now. If you guys noticed in Final Fantasy history, like after seven, 10, I think 10 was the first one to do it. They did Final Fantasy 10, then they did Final Fantasy 10 2, and then they did Lightning Returns and Lightning blah blah blah. I do believe that with Final Fantasy 7, there's a possibility of them doing a Final Fantasy 7 2 like way later down the road because it's such a good game and there's so much you can do with the story of Cloud that it's like this game needs to keep living on. Like if I don't care if it's 10, 15, 20 years from now, this game has to keep living on and these characters have to keep living because even seeing our boy, man, like the acting, the funniness, they got like clever moments, they got nostalgic moments, Easter eggs, the music, how you purchase the music is really cool. Like that's
I
one
go to every store that I can. Everywhere that sells things, I make sure I buy every music, every track. As soon as I see a
every
track,
single that's the
I
first thing
buy
you do.
every track. Every track. Track over
It's so
materia.
cool. It's so cool how they did that, man. And then even the whole materia equipment and how you do it and the elements and like it's just
One of my favorite things, like you can tell the veterans that are playing this game because the first thing you do is you know the materia that you need to level up. So you grab
yep,
the materia you need to level up and start leveling that bitch up immediately. Like I'm
yep.
H
already I'm already almost on level 3 of my all my materia and I'm only on chapter 7.
Yeah,
HP
that's
up,
crazy.
Yep.
HP up. That's the one you got to level up as soon as you get it.
Yep,
Yep,
yep.
yep. That's
HP,
what I did. Right
MP,
off rip.
fire, blizzard, lightning, because especially at the beginning you have to go against all the robots. You need the lightning materia. You need to level that bitch up. Like, and like I missed that part of like Final Fantasy. Like the materia was my favorite thing in Final Fantasy 7. There's always something in Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 10, it was the level up pool. Like
Yeah,
how you had to move up your pool and select the side that you were gonna go on and things like that.
yeah,
They kind of added a little bit of that into Final Fantasy 7 with the weapon upgrades that I like.
yeah.
But
They
Yeah,
do it
that's
really
pretty
good. They do
interesting.
it really, really good in Final. Like they do it where it's interesting. Like
mhm.
you're like, okay, do I want more magic? Do I want more this?
And what's really good about Final Fantasy 7 is when you use your AP, right? I know they went through a lot with this. They had to think really hard just on the weapon part because when you gain AP, right, for a weapon, it's only for that weapon. So,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
not a general AP and you have to decide what weapon you want to use it on. Each individual weapon has their own AP. And I think that's so important to have that because that will be the difference between you liking that game and not liking that game. Because again,
Yeah,
it's that
yeah,
whole Zelda experience with the weapons breaking.
yeah.
That one little thing makes me not like enjoy the game as much as I should be enjoying it. And I feel like this weapon upgrade system is if they didn't do that right, it would definitely make people not enjoy the game.
Oh, they did it. They did
Yeah.
it real smart because even like no one wants to get rid of Cloud's main sword, but when they give you other options like that, and then some of them come with more slots to hold more materia, it's like I gotta kind of weigh the options out. Like
Mm.
it's kind of tough. Like I don't know what I want to do. So um, even like I said, back to the character swapping, the fact that it's so smooth, and then when you use our boy Barrett, like the fact that he can be as fun as Cloud
Oh, that's
is
always,
insane to me, man.
dude. The original game, I was Barrett. I named Barrett me. I didn't name myself Cloud. I kept Cloud. I named Barrett after me.
Yeah.
Barrett is my favorite character in Final Fantasy VII.
And this, he's unbelievable though. Like the stuff he can do in this, it's like yo, it is groundbreaking. And like I said, I can't talk too much about it because like I'm gonna talk to you about it after. And then you're right next to me, Elber, so we could definitely talk after this because we're all in the same area. And there's so much I want to talk about, like the summonings and everything, and we can't. But it's just, oh my god, Final Fantasy is a 10 for me so
The
far. It's lit.
summonings, I don't hate it. I wish it could have been a little bit different. They bother me just a little bit, but I haven't gotten any of the real serious ones yet. So I'm waiting to kind of put my
Yeah, yeah.
judgment
Get to
on
your
them.
second one. Get
Yeah.
to your second one. You're gonna change your mind on
Well,
that.
well,
Get to your no,
I
your
have
third. Your
three.
third.
I have three, but
Yeah.
you might be missing one, and I think I know where you missed it from. There's a materia in the in right before you get to the second reactor, and
I
it's
know what you're
hidden.
talking about. We're gonna talk about that. I know
Okay.
exactly what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
we'll talk about it because it
Okay.
sounds like I missed something.
Okay. And the reason why I have three too is because I pre-ordered the game. I don't know if you claimed your pre-order one.
Nah, I did. I didn't freaking
Oh,
get that one.
okay.
Yeah, that's why I
How do
have
you? How
that
do you?
one.
Hold on. How do you claim that?
You go into the menu. You go to its settings, I think it is, and then it says DLC, and you go in there.
Oh, I thought that was only the
And
deluxe edition.
No, because
Oh
if you pre-order,
shit.
you get it.
Oh, I'm
game
doing that
changer.
tonight.
Yeah,
Game changer.
yeah.
Cliffhanger.
It's
Well,
nothing. It's like
Kyle.
it's the baby chocobo summon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kyle, you know
Yeah, I
what
don't
to
want.
do.
Okay.
But yeah, so all in all, I love the game. It's hard. That's another thing I like about it. Like
It is hard.
Yes.
It's hard.
the second reactor boss is a pain in the ass.
Oh my.
Yeah, so I love to feel that toughness and it being hard and not just going with Cloud and just button mashing. You have to use Barrett a lot,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
I actually had to reorganize everything. I had to reorganize my materia,
Hmm.
Me too.
weapons
Me too.
layout, and I loved it.
Hmm.
Me
Yep.
too.
It's fine.
And
It's the original Final Fantasy all over again.
Yeah.
it's scary to think that there's a hard mode.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I stayed away
I ain't
from
ready
that.
for that. I ain't ready for that.
Nope. I went normal. Like I told you guys, we had this conversation. I want to enjoy the game. I don't want to break it.
Well, they didn't give you the option for hard mode at that time.
No?
No, when it starts, it's straight up normal.
Okay.
But then they give you an easier mode, don't they?
Yeah, they have like a
Yeah.
classic mode. They have a classic mode, an easy mode, and then that normal mode.
Yeah. Isn't classic mode turn based?
I think classic mode is more turn based. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Yeah, I
never do
know.
that in this.
Yeah, I know they do have a turn-based mode, but I said original. I want the game the way you designed it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but was there anything that you wanted to say about Final Fantasy before we moved on, Kyle?
He said, "I'm gonna play it."
Moving on.
All right.
I will play it eventually. There it is. All right.
So why don't you get into the first topic?
Well, we were talking about Animal Crossing a little while ago.
Yes.
Mhm.
So our first topic of the day is that Animal Crossing has been banned in China.
Woo!
Yep.
So the instruction filtered through Alibaba's e-commerce platform Taobao to sellers yesterday and is expected to come. Oh, I missed the first one. Imported sales of Animal Crossing New Horizons have been banned in China. It has been reported. The instruction filtered through Alibaba's e-commerce platform. Taobao to sell yesterday. April. It is expected to come into full effect today, which was a little less than a week ago. So since April 10th, Animal Crossing has been banned in China. While no official word has been issued on why the ban has taken place, some have suspected that it's related to the fact that the game can be used to share materials online, such as political slogans that are generally frowned upon by the Chinese government. The game's pattern editing mode permits players to create their own messages and slogans that can be viewed by other players all over the world. Bloomberg is reporting that the game is one of many that is being used to highlight the political struggle in Hong Kong. One of Hong Kong's most famous democracy campaigners, Joshua Wong, tweeted about using the game to share his message. His tweet says, Animal Crossing is fast becoming a new way for Hong Kong protesters to fight for democracy. The COVID-19 pandemic has halted public demonstrations, so protesters are taking their cause to Animal Crossing.
Huh.
So, pretty much, they're voicing their opinion through Animal Crossing, and now Animal Crossing is now banned in China.
Wow.
That sounds
Well-
like something China would do.
Yes,
People don't
First of all, it's
understand
like-
how good we have it here in the country, like in the United States. Like no one has any idea because they're allowed to do that over there. Like that's the type of life they live. That like their internet is so different than ours. Like it really is. They control what goes on the internet.
Oh, of course. Of course.
That's it.
They're not the same type of government as we are. Like we do have a democracy. Do we have our flaws? Absolutely we have our flaws. But we do have a little more freedom into what we can say rather than in China where pretty much they are voicing their opinions and they're shutting it down immediately because they don't want any opinions to go out there. But these protests are going to keep going and going and going and going and going until somebody gets in there and changes the government around.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, these protests will never, ever, 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 ever stop
Mm-hmm.
in Hong Kong. So, and yes, COVID has slowed down the protesting for public occasions. So, but it's not like they're not going to find other ways to get online and do their protesting.
Mhm.
So, I mean, Animal Crossing was a way to do it. There is a lot of customization that you can utilize in the game to do that stuff. So,
I didn't realize how much
Unfortunately-
customizing you could do in Animal Crossing until I seen somebody have like an entire DJ room in their house. Like they play music and their floor lights up and does all kinds of cool things. I was like, what the hell is this?
I don't think people realize how much stuff you can actually purchase / create
Mhm.
in that game. It's insane how
Mhm.
much stuff. I've bought some things that I just went, that's in the game? What?
I'm gonna rebuild Midgar in my Animal
You
Crossing game.
probably can.
I'm gonna build a plate over so that way a cloud just spawns out of nowhere and he's gonna destroy my. I'll do it all.
Someone's gonna recreate the gold saucer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A little fun fact: when I originally was coming up with PCG, and trying to figure out a name, the gold saucer was a high number one.
Really?
Oh
Yep.
wow.
Yep, the PCG was almost the gold saucer.
Yeah, I kind of like PCG.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll stick with
Golden
PCGs.
saucer though, like I felt like if I went with that name, I would have to go with the theme, and the theme was too like I don't know the best way I can come up with it. Like kitty, not kitty, because like there was nothing kitty about like golden saucer, but it was just like the birds and the
Yeah.
colors, and I didn't like all that. And if I went with the gold saucer, I want it to be the gold saucer, and that's
Hey,
why I
man.
didn't go with it.
Check out my screen.
Oh shit.
Fire. Fire. That joint's fire. The best video game villain next to Ganondorf.
And everyone's going to find out why Sephiroth should be the best villain.
Yeah, that's the man.
That's debatable, but we'll see.
I love that.
Come on,
I love
Kyle,
that.
you can't argue Ganon for that. He's not even.
Yeah, you
Hold on,
can.
wait. Ganon
Yeah,
over
you can.
Sephiroth?
You can say they're both the same. They're
No
both
way.
equal.
No way.
Sephiroth. Hold up.
Well, no,
The-
whoa.
No way.
We're gonna go way off subject right now. I see where this is going.
Okay.
I see where this is going. I'm shutting it down right now.
Okay. All right.
Shutting it down right now. The second this is gonna happen, we're gonna be on this for like a freaking half hour. Done.
We'll save an episode for top villains in games.
Okay.
No,
save it.
but I'm actually surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised that they would use it. That the people would use it to get their political message across. I mean, I'm surprised, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. It just goes to show how creative, how much of a platform gaming has gotten in general.
Oh yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
definitely.
Minecraft is banned over there, isn't it?
Oh, that's a good question.
I want to say
Um,
Minecraft is banned over there because of how much stuff you can do willingly
they,
like that.
I feel like they might as well, if that's the case though, China might as well ban every game because Minecraft, Roblox, all them games you can do that crap in. So I'm confused why it's just Animal Crossing if Minecraft isn't a part of
I
that.
bet you if you look it up,
Roblox,
it'll be on there.
Well, I think if you think, with such a large population, assume that they have, let's say, how many Switch users would you assume that they have?
A lot. A lot.
yeah, yeah.
So let's say over 5 million. So if there's a movement just in Hong Kong alone, let's say you take 1 million users just in Hong Kong. If everybody's socially connected, even through that, you know that they're going to figure out a way to be able to spread their message across.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting, but I mean, it's something that, it's one of those things that is tough to give the opinion on when it's like so much internal conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like Van said, that's what they do. That's when we have to really appreciate the fact that we do live where we live because, we have such freedom that it's ridiculous. And out there, all we can really do is say, hey, that's what they do down there. You can't control that. That's the one thing I never like when. If people feel we can control everything, like we have a country that's already in hell right now, we can't control what everybody else does, especially with a game. So this is what China does. It ain't a surprise. This is what they do.
Right.
It's unfortunate. I feel bad because now all the people out there can't play such a great game, according to you three saying how good it is, and the world loving it. It sucks, but that's what it is, man.
Yeah, New York Times has come out and said that Animal Crossing is one of the perfect ways to spend your time in quarantine.
I've seen that too. Yep.
Which
I think the only I think the only counter for that. So I've gotten tired of the game only because I put so much time into the first few days. Like I can tell you, within the first week, I could say I was fishing for at least 6 hours, catching insects for 6 hours.
That's why I won't play, Albert. That's why I won't play because I fish in real life. So, but with me not being able to fish right now, I would literally sit there on Animal Crossing playing fish. I would fish for like 10 hours. I'm not touching that game, man.
I wouldn't fish the weekend of Easter because if I pulled out one more fucking egg, I was breaking my Switch. I was breaking my Switch.
I haven't. Oh man.
man.
Funny.
Dude, like all of a sudden, like I go fishing. Every time I went fishing, I was pulling out an egg, and I'm like, why am I pulling out all these eggs? And then I'm like, oh, it's the Easter weekend. And I'm like, all right. And then every time you dig, like, I'm so glad everything's back to normal. Like, I'm like, I can't wait until Easter's over because everything, like, every time you dig, like, you couldn't get a fossil. I'm like, I just need fossils so I can build this fucking museum. I just want this museum. Every time you knocked like a balloon down, like, it was another fucking egg. And I'm like, and I'm not going to craft any of this crap at all. Like, none of it. Like, none of it. It is ugly. Like, all this shit is ugly.
I don't know. My inventory is just filled with eggs too. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with them?
Yeah, like I don't have enough to make any of the things so that way I can get rid of them, and then I have a shitload of extra ones. So I'm just like, this sucks.
Damn, you didn't get your archway then.
No, you can get an archway.
Well, I mean, you could have. You had to get all the recipes
Yeah.
for every egg thing, and then you had to craft every single one. And
I
then
get
when
that.
you talk to that stupid bunny, he was like, "Oh, here's this other thing," and then you craft that last thing, which was just involved eggs again. And
Too
then
much
you
work.
got this egg archway that you could craft.
No, I don't want
What
no
I-
fucking egg archway. I'm glad I didn't
I
go through all
got
that
it.
crap. I
That
would have
egg
been
archway was
pissed.
amazing for
No,
a day.
like, cause he got me right. So he said he had to get all the eggs. So I got all the eggs, but I did. There were certain eggs that weren't showing up on my island, so I had to buy some eggs off him. So I was pissed about not buy. I had to trade
Which
eggs.
ones weren't on the island?
There were two ones I wasn't getting on my island.
Which
Two
was
colors.
what?
I can't remember. So,
Because you could get every single egg on your island.
none of them. Dude, I went through my entire fucking island. I
Wait,
dug.
there
I
was-
went in the trees.
There was the stone egg, there was the earth egg, and the sky egg, the water egg.
I think the stone egg. I have to go. I have to go through and tell
were
you because
six
I don't know off the top of my head. But there
was
were
the
only
dirt-
there was only two I couldn't get. So I said, you know what,
really
I'm not
all-
going to another island. So he made a deal where you can trade some of your eggs for the ones that you were missing.
Right.
So
Yep.
I had so many of the other eggs. I was just like, fine, I'll do that. So I did that. I traded it, and then I got the two eggs. And then he was like, oh, if you want another recipe, I was like, oh, hell no. Hell no, I'm not going through all this crap for you. No way. So I'm glad
I'll just craft you everything, man. Anyway.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Do you realize I had to take down my whole egg fence and my egg archway that I had up for a day, and then I had to take everything down in my house that involved Bunny Day. I was like, shit. So I had to take everything.
Like, why didn't they just call it Easter? Like, just call it Easter Day. Like, why do they have to call it Bunny Day? Oh, you know why Easter is technically a
Right.
religious
It's
holiday.
called Bunny Day for a reason.
Yeah. But anyways, next topic.
Next topic. Hello. Oh, there we go. So it has been leaked that a Crisis Remastered game is coming for the PS4 with ray tracing and enhanced visuals.
So, guys, a
You
little
talking
secret
about Crisis Core?
No,
What was it?
Crisis. The game
Oh, Crisis, the shooter, the old Crisis.
Yes.
So I think I mentioned this on the show before. A little fun fact about Crisis, because I think we brought the topic up, but it was a rumor at the time. They used to use Crisis to test graphic card the graphic card capacity, like how well a graphic card can do.
Yeah.
Benchmark. They used Crisis for benchmark testing for graphic cards, and that's how strong you knew a graphic card was. So.
They actually just launched a trailer to Crisis, actually, official trailer.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like while we're speaking right now, they just launched one.
That was a good game. I never beat it or anything like that, but I did play it, and I thought it was a really crazy game.
Yeah,
it's gonna be better for this era. It's gonna be better for now. Like this era, with needing some good shooters. Right now, this is a good time to push out Crisis.
They need to make a Turok.
Yes.
I'm still waiting for that announcement.
Then I'm with you on that, bro. Not a remaster, literally just a new Turok game from ground up, please.
That was a really good game. I love that game.
Well, I mean, you know they're gonna just remake it now.
Yeah.
Remaking seems to be the thing to do now. It worked for Resident Evil, and it worked for Final Fantasy. So let's see what else we get.
You could say God of War.
No,
they don't even.
No,
it's tough.
The new God of War was a complete different God of War than the other one.
I think it's just a new direction.
So
it's a new direction, a new fighting, new mechanics. What do you mean? It's a whole new
I
game.
don't think that's a remake. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Maybe
No,
they could get away with it. They could get no. That's not a remake. I'm saying they could get away with making a remake.
Yeah, because they hired a whole new studio, bro, to start that game from ground up. It's a whole new studio, man.
No, it's not. It's the same studio. They just a different name.
Yeah, when they got the team they got for all the other new members, they have the same people that made the original, but they put a whole new team behind that, man. And if it's fought like the old one, I would say nah, but because it really fights like a whole different God of War, Like it's completely different than the old God of Wars.
Little fun fact: my son beat God of War 4 before me.
That's crazy.
My
I'm just-
10-year-old.
You know what's worse than that? The fact that I beat God of War before you did.
Yeah, man, you gotta stop playing.
I
Well-
thought you were gonna say you never played a God of War.
Oh no, that could never happen. That can never happen. Well, like I said, what deterred me was when my save file got deleted,
Yeah, that's
and
painful.
that's really what killed me. So that was tough. That was tough. I was just like, yeah, I need to put this game away for a while. Anytime
Yeah,
something like
that
that
happened.
big happens, I get away from it. So, but what was that news story? What was that one that we were just talking about?
Crisis.
Oh,
Crisis.
Crisis, yeah. Yep.
See, listen, see, if I don't shut down conversations, we get off way off subject.
Yep. Yeah, but especially that particular one, we would have went on for days. So Crisis Remastered League, I think that's pretty cool. I'm just hoping that this generation really kind of gets into it, and I hope they do it
Yeah.
right. You know, because there was a lot of cool things, and now they might not be able to really know. So, but
Yeah.
anyways, moving
Well,
on.
there is a very interesting thing about it, though.
What's that?
On the leaked image, which now is official, it says it's coming to PC, it's coming to PS4, it's coming to Xbox One, and the Switch.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I'm like, okay.
That's cool.
So at least we'll get there'll be a really good shooter. Not that Splatoon isn't a good shooter.
You guys we got Overwatch on Nintendo Switch.
That's true. We do have Overwatch. I take that whole thing back now.
On the Switch, Overwatch is terrible.
That it was a terrible, terrible statement you just made. That was a terrible statement. I'm gonna actually put that out of my brain. That was.
Hold on, but did you say
Let
that
me
the
ask you a
game is
question.
terrible,
Do
or
you
you
still
said that
play
it's
it?
terrible on Switch?
He said
Let me
terrible
ask
on
you,
Switch.
He said Overwatch in general.
Do you still play it?
Oh,
I'm gonna do this for the sake of Andre, if it will come up. Is there no picture of it?
no, there is. You have to scroll down, man, all the way down. You don't have to. You don't have to talk about that. I just shared it because it popped up in my news feed.
Mine's still
Oh,
It looks
on.
sexy though. The control looks sexy.
Oh, but it's like a video.
No, I seen a hold up. I seen an image of it.
Yeah, no, that's alright. I'll look later. I was gonna show it on here, but that's okay. Bert the fake gamer. That's wrong. That's wrong, Michael. That's dirty.
our boy Mike is on chat.
Don't mind him. Don't mind him. He's yeah. He's whenever he writes something, just get back to me.
He said you got Bert the fake gamer.
That's fine. I mean, I don't really care for Overwatch. I never really did, but I mean, it's a very popular game. I won't deny that, but to me, it still sucks. So it's.
I think if you don't have a team, it sucks.
I
That too.
Overwatch is one of my favorite FPSs. And I think a lot of it is because of how different it went. It went the fun route, and I can
Yeah.
understand why a lot of people don't like it because it's not that arcade-ish style out of the left part kind of game. So, but I like enjoy. I was excited to see that come to Nintendo Switch, but I don't know how everyone liked it and how well it played on the Switch. So.
I should have been the guinea pig on that one, but I'll get it. I might get it eventually on Switch just to see it.
But other news.
Oh, this is the whole me and Andre topic right here.
Hold on, wait. I think you. No, not the last one, right? You talking the last one already?
No, I'm talking about the third one in Asana.
Okay.
which is Microsoft and Sega are planning big announcement in June. That's a whole mean. Microsoft has been working diligently at enlarging its portfolio of first-party games by acquiring game studios from all over the world over the past few years. It has continued its push with services such as Xbox Game Pass and xCloud. And this holiday will be launching a brand new console, the Xbox Series X, that nobody sold on yet. Microsoft continues to gain momentum. A recent rumor points to the possibility of Xbox and Sega working together for a joint announcement sometime in the near future. An image has leaked online that points to a live event that may be streaming on Mixer, the service that is being streamed on more than YouTube and Facebook Gaming combined on June 14th. Well, this is quite interesting, Andre. Don't you agree?
Yeah, 2 dying systems.
God,
That's what put it. You see what happened to Sega last time it was in the game?
poor Sega.
You see what Xbox is doing right now? Going down the same route. So they're like, hey,
Yeah,
let's combine together and become the Fantastic Four, the team nobody cares about.
I'm just saying.
Stupid.
Kinda what
Stupid.
happened.
Well, they're gonna get an exclusive Sonic? Who the hell cares? Come on, no freaking Sega and Xbox, Sega and Microsoft. The hell that you think I'm happy?
This is just
What the hell's I gonna do?
this is just weird. Like I just think it's weird. Like is it gonna be an Xbox exclusive? Because if this is not gonna be an exclusive thing, then
Man,
yeah.
then there's no point.
Microsoft is just gonna buy another studio. They're gonna buy Sega. Phil's gonna
I'll
and
freaking cry if that happens.
listen to me. Listen to me. I'm telling y'all right now. I'm telling y'all right now. Remember I said this, Albert, you're on the show, so you can be a witness.
That'll be something.
Remember this. They're buying Sega, and that's going to be. Remember, Phil kept saying he's buying a lot of different companies, and he has, but they're all multi-platform, so it doesn't really count. But they're going to be buying Sega. Give Sega money because Sega needs it, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So let me say
Nothing.
this. This is why
Alright,
I don't believe that. Oh, go ahead, Albert.
I got one for you. You guys, which one of you 3 really enjoyed the Dreamcast?
I think
I think we all probably did.
Yeah.
All right.
That
Do
is
you
one of my
guys
top favorite systems of all time.
Yeah.
Do you
I agree.
remember a cheesy beat 'em up called Dynamite Cop?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. I'll put it to you this way. If they somehow incorporate a cheesy rehash of that game, I will literally do a Facebook Live and go buy an Xbox point blank.
All right.
Generation. If they put that in.
All right.
Follow
That was a
me.
great game. That was a
Albert,
great
Quote me
game.
on that.
I'm the dream killer on the show. You ready for this? Kyle, can you go on the shelf and get the should I get the box? Or
Wait,
should
wait,
we
I got
get-
it. Wait,
I haven't seen that thing in like 4 years.
we haven't seen this thing in months.
Yeah, you might have to dust it off. You might have to dust it off. Right?
We'll do this.
Take what Albert's idea, right?
Let's
I got it.
Andy.
Of them taking Dynamite Cop out of all games, right? Out of all games.
I got it right here.
Dynacop. Put that in there, right? But hold on,
Yeah.
move everything aside that's in there. Move it aside. You got to give it room because you got to put it in the bottom of the box.
Give me 1 sec.
You got to put it in the bottom, like deep in the deep in there. Put
I got
everything
it.
on top of in it.
All right, hold on. Okay.
Right? Close it back up, lock it back up, and put it back on the shelf.
All right, wait. I gotta put it. All right, it's in.
Yeah, lock it up and put it back on the shelf. That will never happen.
Okay.
That will
here we go.
never happen. I love Dynamite Cop. I love Dynamite Cop. But
Me too.
like any game that was solely for the Dreamcast, as it is already something that the world has already pushed off because everyone thinks that Dreamcast was the fault of Sega that caused them to go under, forgetting all the years that Sega's done awful. All the years, people actually blame fucking Dreamcast for it. When Dreamcast was the best system that they pushed out.
It was.
Wasn't the Saturn like horrible though?
Oh, it was
The Saturn was terrible.
It was awful. It was I think it was the shortest time period that they had for a video game system in history before they pushed the next one.
That's been my point for years. Like people are blaming the Dreamcast. I'm like, did you not see how bad they did with the Saturn?
How about Sega CD?
That was horrible.
What about Sega CD?
Well, Sega CD was just attached to the Genesis, so it's like, That was just like an attachment. But
Yeah.
the Saturn was a full-fledged system, and it did nothing.
Right.
I love Dreamcast, but you know the partnership they're doing can't involve another console. So that's why I said Microsoft just buy another studio and giving them the money they need for funding. And Kyle, you don't have to worry because remember, Microsoft shares exclusives. So whatever game they announce, whether it be a Vanquish, Bayonetta, or whatever it may be, it will be on all systems because that's what Microsoft does.
Well, all right, let's put it this way. Like, I know they came out with the whole Bayonetta Vanquish combo thing that that they showed actually at PAX East. But let's put it this way. You will only see Bayonetta 1 on all the systems because that's where it originally started. Originally started on 360 and PlayStation. And the only reason it went over to the Switch is because Nintendo, went with Platinum and decided to make Bayonetta 2, which, again, phenomenal game. So you'll see Bayonetta 1 all over the place, but you'll never see 2 or 3 on the other systems.
Yeah.
So
I think that's what this announcement is. I think that's what it's going to be. Another studio.
I don't know if it's going to be purchasing Sega. It could be, but I mean, this probably isn't a big announcement. But maybe for Microsoft it is. But like maybe they'll do like a whole like Dreamcast hits thing that's like remastered.
True. That could happen.
That would be the only way Albert gets Dynamite Cop, and even then, you're not getting Dynamite Cop.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Not that I don't want to see it. I would love to see it.
You know what's crazy? The Dreamcast is the only thing that never puts its games back out. Like, other than Sonic Adventure, but like Jet Set Radio came out with an HD one and all that, but they didn't really push all their games they had on Dreamcast. They had a lot of great games.
Power Stone.
Oh my God, that game was.
Oh jeez.
Power Stone was an incredible game.
That was a fire game. I forgot about that.
Virtual Cop.
That was another good one.
That was another Dreamcast title. I mean,
Knights.
Oh. Why? Like, why is this happening? Like, I don't get it. Again, it has to be exclusive. If this isn't like an exclusive thing, this is the biggest waste of everybody's time.
Yeah. They have a countdown clock for it on the Sega site, from what I heard. So I mean, it got to be something pretty. Not a countdown. It has like a reminder on the Sega site to check the event out. So I think it's something good. Like even if it's just a game that's going to be between Sega and Microsoft, I don't know. But I'm going to stick with Microsoft's purchase and Sega.
I just don't want that to happen. So
Me either.
So I'm just gonna say that I think it's gonna be like some sort of like Dreamcast hits thing that comes to Xbox that they'll just be like remastering all the Dreamcast games.
I would like that too, Kyle. I hope that's what it is. I would actually like that.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Any predictions from the two of you?
Me?
Yes, you.
That they're gonna go the route of Sega and make games and no more content. No, I'm only kidding. Bad joke. I don't know. I'm trying to decide if it's I don't know or I don't care. I
was gonna say it was like Van was like, do you have any comments on? I mean, even if you don't care.
I mean, like I do care, but it's one of those things that I'm so frustrated with the way Xbox handles everything, and especially lately as far as like the exclusivities. So it was just like, if this is another ploy just to get attention towards something that means nothing, I'm absolutely sick of that right now, and I don't want people to keep doing that. Like, we're moving on to the next generation. This is the year we need to be talking about the next generation. And why are we continuously talking about this generation stuff? Like, PlayStation stopped talking about this generation 2 years ago almost because of the fact that they had nothing. That's why they didn't go to E3. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, we don't have enough. Like, they're already moving on. It's just like Xbox, like Microsoft, like Cloud. The X Cloud is like your biggest thing. Game Pass is your biggest thing. Like, those two things, you guys should be riding that, and it's just like now, unless the Sega thing has something to do with like the Cloud, X Cloud, and Game Pass, then I'll be very excited for that. But if not, like if it goes around that journey, So it's just like, again, I don't want to make it like I don't care. It's just in the gaming stuff, I'm just getting so frustrated with these false hopes, and that's why I'm kind of like, ugh, with them. It's just like, okay,
Especially with Microsoft, especially with them, because it's like even if they purchase Sega, what are we getting? It's going to be games that are on every console technically. So who cares? Like,
right,
what are you doing? It's
right.
going to be on PC or whatever.
Are you
So.
gonna tell us that we can take our Sega, all our Sega old games and put them right into the Xbox and play it? All right, cool. Like I can, I'll be super dope for that. But I mean, like,
Right.
if they're gonna, I would love to see Dreamcast classics come out, like Dreamcast hits. That would be great.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That would be great. But I don't know, man. It's a waste. It's gonna be a waste of time. I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah.
You
Busy.
know, I should play Phil
Yes,
Collins. I
sir.
wish I had it on button on demand. It would be Phil Collins. I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
I can feel it come.
But how
uh,
do you feel, man?
Say it again.
Busy, how do you feel about it?
Me? You know what? I was just hearing you guys, and I mean, honestly, it really, I don't know. There's just so much stuff now that you really don't mean. That's like a blip in the radar until they're like, hey, this is the splash that we're making with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, honestly, it's not. I mean, it's good. I mean, I've always wished that Sega just, you know, maybe it's just the nostalgic, but you know, I don't know. They've done little things, but you know, it's just
Yeah. Real little thing.
See, the thing is though, like Sega, somewhat like still is a little prominent though. Like, all right,
oh
let's
yeah,
put
no,
it this way.
No,
there's
as
no
a game
denying that.
company, they 100% are. It's not like they're gone. It's just they have no power in the console world,
I don't know,
obviously.
man.
Oh no!
I feel like they kind
Well,
of
yeah,
gone.
in the console world, no, they don't. But like as far as games go, like they're still going strong. Like I mean,
Yeah.
Bayonetta's one of them. So,
I mean, they only got Bayonetta in all these failures of a Sonic game.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, no, I mean,
well, no, Sonic Mania was good. Wait a minute,
Sonic
Mania
Mania
don't
was
forget-
good. Sonic Mania was good.
I mean, they also have the Yakuza games, and I mean,
True.
That's true.
you know,
That's true.
so
They got a
and
little
then
funny.
they're producing a lot of different variations of Yakuza now.
Yes.
And like, granted, I mean, I personally love the Yakuza games, but they're all 100-hour plus
Yeah.
games. So
Yeah.
Any game that I have to work, make money, go to a soda machine, buy soda, buy snacks, stuff like, I'm good.
Never played Persona 5 then.
Yeah, I
Ugh.
know. I know. Trust me, I'm hearing about it.
don't get me started with that.
Great
Nope.
game though.
Yeah, a lot of good games. When did P5 come out? Was it this year?
Persona
No,
5,
2017, 16?
It was that
2017.
long
Yeah.
ago?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know the new one that just came out is just a remaster of that, right?
Okay, all right. So,
Yeah.
real quick, I just want those out there because this isn't a topic. Games that I think that's going to be contenders for the game of the year. Final Fantasy VII, right?
Yep.
Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Yep.
Tsushima, whatever. Cyberpunk, which
Yep.
I forgot about. The remaster of Persona did come out this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That will be up there.
Yeah,
Those
well.
four,
It
definitely.
got
I mean,
tens. It got tens actually. It actually got tens. I'm like, it's the same game with like different features, but they could have updated, but they got more money by doing it this way. And it got 10. If you look it up right now, the first one got like 9.8s and 9s. This one got 10s across the board.
It did. It did. And did they usually do 4 games or 5? I thought they only did 4.
4, 5.
Is it
It's
5?
usually 5.
I'm not sure of the 5th one yet.
As far as game of the year,
Yeah.
Kennedy?
Yeah, the nominees.
Wasn't there like 6 this past year?
I
Was
have
it?
no
I think so.
There was
I think so.
oh, geez, I'd have to go back and check now. Jeez.
Yeah.
There was Sekiro, there was Smash, there was Control, there was Death Stranding. There was Outer Worlds, and shit. I thought that was.
So I think there was a 6. So 5 and 6 are the nominees. Van, I agree with all the ones you said.
I'm gonna double check this just in case, but we can move on to the next.
Next topic.
Next
Gamescom going all digital.
Woo!
I don't think there's much to say about that.
E3 oh, Resident Evil 2 was the other one. So yeah, there were 6.
Yeah.
There were 6.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Resident Evil mix remake. So
Yeah, I don't know.
um,
I don't know if Persona 5 remastered should be in a Game of the Year category.
oh, it will be up there.
It wouldn't be in mine, Kyle. It wouldn't be in mine, but people love that game.
Well, wait a minute. It's the same game, though, right?
Yeah, they just added like extra missions.
Right. It's not going to be up Game of the Year. There's
I
no.
hope it doesn't.
It got nominated in 2017 for Game of the Year.
Oh, that was for this generation, right? So it's not a remake.
Right.
It's
not gonna. Right. It's not a remake. It's not
Yeah.
going to be nominated. It's just gonna. It'll be there.
You're right.
And
It's just Persona 5.2, really. Just all the
Yeah,
DLCs and everything else.
Yeah.
But the game is really good. I mean,
It is.
the battle system, the music, the characters, everything's like very strong. I mean, I have the game. I played it a little bit, but watching later game, I was very impressed by it.
It gets insane. But like Van said, that going to buy your own food and getting a job and stuff, you do that in Persona, and it can become tired. It can become tiring if you don't have the patience. But it's really good. There hasn't been storytelling in the game like Persona that I've ever seen. Like it's unique storytelling.
Yep. So, all right. Next topic, Gamescom. This is an announcement from Gamescom about Gamescom. It's official. Unfortunately, Gamescom will under no circumstances take place on site in Cologne this year. Just like many of you, we are disappointed because as the Gamescom team, we have been working on a wonderful Gamescom 2020 for months, just like the many exhibitors. However, it is also quite clear to us that in the face of the corona pandemic, we must stand united. This means that we must all be considerate of each other and reduce the risk of infection. We are, however, already working at full speed on a digital Gamescom. It is, after all, the world's biggest event for games, and that's what it should be again this year. Ooh, low blow to E3.
That was definitely a blow.
You can already look forward to how we will celebrate the best games in Gamescom together with you and millions of gamers worldwide at the end of August, even if it will only be digital and not on location this time. Because one thing is certain, this year too, Gamescom is and will remain the heart of gaming. Oh man.
Can I just say one thing right now about this whole thing? Can I just say one thing? E3's dead. They're dead. They're not that right there.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah.
It's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
After that, I'm done.
They're closing the segment. We will reveal more about this in the next few weeks. Until then, stay healthy and don't forget to stay home, play together. Your Gamescom team, regarding already purchased tickets, all paid tickets will be refunded. We'll arrange this centrally in the coming weeks. There is nothing further for you to do. So yeah. It's so funny. People have memes of because when they posted it, it's like real small lettering. So people post the memes of people trying to look at it real close. But yeah, they definitely made it very clear that they were throwing blows at E3
Easily.
for the decisions they made. And I definitely have to go with Kyle with this. With Gamescom doing this, with whatever gaming conventions that are happening on, you'll see other gaming conventions doing this format.
Look, IGN, not to interrupt, sorry.
Nope.
With IGN doing the summer of gaming, basically taking over what E3 should have done.
Yep.
And then Gamescom now coming out saying that they're going to go all digital. E3's dead.
E3's over.
I look at E3 and I'm like, they're dead. Even if next year that this whole thing decides to slow down and we can be in the public again and all this other stuff, E3 is doing nothing now. Will do nothing to convince me to even go there.
Mhm.
Can we have a moment of silence for E3 never
I got my
coming back?
I don't have my phone. Figurative candle.
It sucks.
Hey Andre,
Yeah.
look at my screen.
Oh
It
my
is being
god!
purposely distracting to the show right now.
Oh my god, we had a good show this whole time. I'm sitting in peace. I'm like, yo, this is going real good. I like Albert on the show, man. It's a good dude, man. What's that? Show me that game again. Stupid game.
No, no worries, no worries.
God, man. Purposely
Just had to
trying
get
to
it
get
in
me
there.
mad on here.
Andre about to kill Albert just like Gamescom killed E3.
Listen, leave E3 alone. E3 will live.
Oh my
No,
god!
in our
Oh
hearts,
my
Albert,
god!
Albert, in our hearts, in our hearts.
In our
Yeah,
hearts,
in
it
our
will
hearts,
live on.
exactly.
Albert's gonna be the one guy. The one guy. He's like, someone's gotta defend him.
Can I just say this?
I don't listen. I can't lower it down 6 feet just yet. We can leave it at 5 feet, and then we have that 1 foot of space if we need to kick it and say, all right, we did our best.
6 feet.
All I'm gonna say is this.
You better put him
All I'm gonna
12
say is
feet.
this. I went to E3 before it died, and I went to PAX before it died this year. PAX isn't dead. I'm talking about we got to experience PAX East before this virus hit hard.
Yeah,
And then I went to
that is
E3
true.
before it died. I am lucky. I am so freaking lucky. But right now, I'm glad they took the precautions instead of letting people. Because at first they said it would be scheduled for August and this and that, and
yeah.
it was still going to go on. But the fact that they stepped up to the plate and like Van said from the beginning, there's a slap in that face. Like, hey, letting y'all know we're here. Don't worry. E3 disappointed y'all, but we're here for you. And
Yo,
I
they
see you
like
doing it. So.
this was like an uppercut, a jab, and then finish it off with a Knockout Kings 2001 haymaker. And if if
Hadouken!
anyone's played Knockout Kings 2001, they know the haymakers in that game was serious. You couldn't stop them
Yeah,
from
no.
coming. You couldn't stop them.
I thought you were gonna bring it back to Knockout Kings 2000.
I mean, we didn't even bring it to 2000s where you couldn't even block them. You were just getting hit with them.
Hell yeah.
It was whoever could throw the haymaker the fastest. You know what I mean? Like at least 2001, you could block it.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Rest
nah.
in peace, E3.
Yeah, no, that's like I said. We had a discussion about this, and we said if you can't adjust with the time, like there should be no reason why you can't have something like an E3 be all digital. Like
Right.
if I had the capital and I had the resources E3 had, like it would be a no-brainer. It'd be a no-brainer. We laid the foundation to them a couple shows ago. We laid it out. We put it out there like
Yeah.
this is what they could do and it would work. And they want nothing to do with it. And now,
No.
okay, well, here's Gamescom. Hey, guess what? We're doing an all digital.
Yep.
E3 is already digital. Like it's it's already digital. Like
Right.
you got to be that greedy McScrooge that doesn't want to celebrate Christmas, knowing that those fucking ghosts are gonna come to your bedroom and not let you go to sleep. But all you had to do was had some eggnog. You know what I mean? Hang up some Christmas decorations, and you would have been able to sleep that night. You know, but no, had to go through it, man. Had to go through it.
I just don't. Literally, E3 is like the Toys R Us of video game conventions.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the best way to put it.
Yep.
Best way to put it.
They won't adjust to anything.
Nope.
So, Cal, is Gamescom Amazon?
Is Gamescom? Might as well be.
Just
Through
in
the
the sense that
years. Go ahead, Galbert.
no, I was gonna say yeah, it could be Amazon, just not in the sense of swallowing up mom and pop shops.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think like nothing's gonna kill PAX because PAX is indie related.
Of course.
So the PAX is always gonna be PAX. Just Gamescom through the years, like I was gonna say, is become so popular.
Yeah, it has.
it's not E3. It's something different. They've been something different. E3 is E3. E3 is a
Yeah.
week-long event that is on every channel. IGN's got their own platform. They got their own stage. Gamescom's got their own stage. YouTube's got their own stage. Like what is it? Spike TV had their own stage for a few years. All of them have their own stages where they're demoing these games
Yeah.
all at different times. So, like, there was nothing bigger than E3 on the platform of how much content there was. Even
Yeah.
Gamescom didn't have that much content, ever had that much content. It's just the difference between Gamescom and E3 is Gamescom was saying, hey, this is what you're gonna see. If you want to see this, you know what I mean. You can go to Gamescom, not Gamescom, videogames.com, and they would do their own thing, GameSpot, but it wouldn't be there. Like you know what I mean? Like it's not a stage, it's not a platform. So I think that's the way we need to go. And that's what I was saying E3 needed to do was like, okay, listen, let's make this a media thing, but we could do this digital. Like we could do it. Like I'm getting a headache thinking about it. Like Gamescom was pretty much already all set up for that as well. So it's like all these conventions you can save money. Like they're so worried about everyone's like, well, they're going to lose a lot of money. No, they're not going to lose money. A lot of these companies have to spend so much money so it's like, how much money were they really making? Like you have all these companies spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to take up these spaces. But how much money do you think they're spending to rent the place? Like I can tell you right now, the Providence Civic Center in Providence, right? That place for 100,000 square feet is $100,000. Just that. That's
Wow.
not fucking San Diego. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
That has got to be a few million, and
Oh
it's just
yeah.
logically they could still make a huge profit and probably more if they would have went digital. And Gamescom sees that, and it's not just like they're doing it for the profit. Like I do believe they're about the gamers, um, and that's why they're gonna do this. And it's gonna push them over the edge because now we didn't have E3 this year, right? And everything else is getting taken away, and now Gamescom is gonna be in the center light of it. Gamescom is the new E3.
Yep.
I
Fair
agree.
enough. Fair enough.
It is the
Kev-
new E3.
Our boy, me and Albert's boy Kevin, says E3 might be too mainstream to die.
Yeah.
This has been going on for years, though.
It's been
Yeah.
dying
That's
out
the
every
thing.
year.
It's been dying and dying. It's been dying a very slow death for years. And last year, when that whole
Oh, that was
thing with
oh
the
man.
media information getting out,
Yeah,
that was
that was one of the daggers, and then even other companies not showing up, that was the other thing.
other companies not showing up. After the media thing happened, they were going to get sued.
Like what happened
So,
last year with E3 was so bad. I would like to compare it to a house, like a building, like a business building that
yep,
had bad foundation that was already falling apart, and then
yep,
an earthquake hit.
yep.
You
And
know what I mean? And now the building's all gone. So it's like you were already thinking about kind of rebuilding a little bit, but kind of keeping what you had and just redesigning it. And then the earthquake came, and you're just like, you know what? We have no choice now. We have to rebuild. They lost so much money last year that they had to have E3 this year. Had to have E3 this
had
year.
to, right?
And now that they didn't have E3, everybody was saying it. Like this is not like this is an opinion thing. Like every media source was saying it that E3 needs to happen in a big way this year, and if it didn't, how bad of an outcome it would be. And we are now going to find out how bad it's going to be. And last year's E3 might have been the last E3 we've seen.
I agree.
Like
Yeah.
I agree.
coronavirus has destroyed so many things. My wife's high school is now just announced today. They're officially not open. They're closed for
Yeah.
good now. They had to
Oh,
close two Catholic schools.
she went to Coil or one of those places.
Yep, Coyle Cassidy. So
Yeah, I
now
seen that.
they're not opening. Like there are
It's
so many
crazy.
businesses and schools and companies because of this coronavirus. They weren't able to make money. Everyone was tight as it is already, and now you took
Mm.
this away. Now, like, dude, that's no bueno. And they got hit bad last year at E3.
Yeah,
Mm.
Bad,
yeah.
bad.
Horribly.
And it's sad. Like we grew up watching E3. E3 was the first ever video game conference.
Yeah, man.
First ever. Father of its time. And no matter how bad E3 was getting, we continuously found our little points to keep watching and keep enjoying it. And it was not just the E3 conference, it was everything else that surrounded it. It's the environment. And that environment you can duplicate somewhere else if it already exists. And in Gamescom
Mhm.
it already exists. PAX it already exists. Um there's another one. What's the one in Japan?
Tokyo Game Show.
Yep, game show. Um, like they already canceled theirs too. So
Yeah.
you have PSX, you have Microsoft that has their own. So it's just
Yeah.
like you have all these other places so that the environment already exists. To rebuild the gaming environment doesn't take much. It doesn't take much at all. You just got to be pure. And that's what
Yeah.
us gamers want. We just want purity. And if we get something that's pure and designed for us, then everything else is perfect.
I agree.
No.
I agree.
Yeah, he
But
can see the
True.
think of it like
That's
10,
looking at
12,
everybody else.
10, 12 years ago, I was having E3 watch parties at my house. Albert was here for them. I had a whole bunch of people come to my house. We
think
had
all of us did
E3 watch parties, and it was all day. We turned on G4. We sat there and we watched all the press conferences for that day.
Yep, on a Monday, Tuesday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
On
didn't want anyone
every-
at my house when I watched.
Yeah, everybody. Well, like we had a cookout and everything. Everybody came over. We all took the Monday off. We all watched it. Had a cookout and everything.
It
And we
was the
watched
game,
it.
the gamer Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the
I
best
used
way
to
to put it?
stay. PlayStation would come on at like fucking 9 o'clock at night. I'd be laying in my bed with my laptop open, my headphones on,
Yep.
and then I always had a separate chat from my brother and Matthew, and you would just sit there and text away. You know what I mean? That was the thing, man. But it's sad. I wish they were too mainstream to die, but um, yeah, no,
It,
this it's not good.
Mhm.
yeah. It's done. I think it's done.
And they did it to
Yeah,
themselves.
it's definitely over, man. It's sad to see, but it's what it is, man.
Yeah. So, all right, we got to get into our main topic here because I need to hear this discussion between you two because I personally didn't know you felt this way, Kyle,
Yeah.
until something was said. So I'm very curious on where this is because I'm out of everyone in here, I'm the one that's probably in the middle ground for this next topic. So I personally don't really care.
Well, all right. So Capcom's been making Capcom's been making a lot of noise in the rumor mill as of late pertaining to Resident Evil. So apparently it has been rumored that Resident Evil 8 and 4 remakes are happening. So
Resident Evil 8.
Resident Evil 8.
Okay.
Oh, so they confirmed 8 too?
Nothing's been confirmed. Nothing's
Okay.
been confirmed.
Okay.
So the first article says Resident Evil 8 leak reveals title and Chris Redfield returns. So this is probably gonna like take place a little after the Baker incident.
Mm.
Let's see. The article says leaks are surfacing about Resident Evil 8, and many fans will be excited by the rumored creepy setting, characters, and antagonists. The Resident Evil franchise has been revitalized after recent remakes of its classic titles 2 and 3. The critical and commercial success of Resident Evil 2 and 3 has made many players excited for a completely new story that utilizes similar mechanics. A leaked rumor has now shed some light on the direction Resident Evil 8 may take, and many fans will be pleased with how it honors previous titles while looking to add new elements. Resident Evil franchise began in 96 and helped define the survival horror genre. Since then, the franchise has managed to consistently release games, although fans have differing opinions on the quality of particular titles. Naturally, a franchise that has an impressive following has speculation surrounding its future, and if the latest leak is to be believed, it seems that previous rumors carried some weight. So, all right, this is the last thing I'll read. The anonymous leak detailed the setting, the antagonist, and hints on how characters will interact with one another. The plot is rumored to be set in Eastern Europe in a village, which is also said to be part of the full title, which will be Resident Evil 8 The Village. It is also thought that flashbacks and hallucinations will play a part in a who can the player trust dynamic. There had already been rumors of hallucinations being a key part of Resident Evil 8, and this seems to be the case. Series regular Chris Redfield is in one of the flashbacks alongside Ethan, Maya, and what seems to be their baby. Only the character doesn't seem to be taking on a heroic role and seems disheveled. In that sense, the key protagonist is still unclear. In terms of an antagonist, a witch who can utilize insects is said to be the enemy, similar to what was seen in Resident Evil 7. The frequent leaker of games news Twitter used Aesthetic Gamer, aka Dust Golem, has also suggested the game is on the horizon. Okay, that's a lot of reading. Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, let me just chime in on something that I had heard too, probably a few months ago. It was the same thing where they were saying that they're currently in develop. They were in development of 4 Resident Evil titles. So if you put in Resistance in Part 3, that does tie into the other 2 that technically they're working in the background on. So
yep.
I would say that that's pretty accurate.
So
very exciting.
Resident Evil 8 was the one that was the first one that was the very first Resident Evil that became more real as far as the graphics were intense, right?
Which one?
Resident Evil 8.
No,
Resident Evil 8 hasn't come out yet.
Oh, so just say Resident Evil 8's the new one.
Resident Evil 8's
so
the
what
new
one
one.
am I thinking about? Was it Resident Evil?
Well, let's put it this way. The last 3 games that came out were Resident Evil 7, which was in the first-person view, because they wanted to utilize the VR on Sony. And then there was Resident Evil 2 and 3 that just came
Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 was the one that it became where it was it changed the whole dynamic on the movement, right? It
Correct.
became more like what we know.
Pretty much what 2 and 3 are now.
Like action based.
Yeah.
Is 2 and 3? Did they change their movement and everything?
Well, yeah, all right. So Resident Evil 4 was the first Resident Evil to develop the over-the-shoulder cam, which actually I think was the first game to actually develop the over-the-shoulder.
Probably, I think so.
For third-person shooters. I always say like this: Resident Evil 4 was the first one to do it, and then Gears perfected it after that.
Yes. So just to kind of chime in on how the other Resident Evils were, Resident Evil 2, the remake was they went back more toward more of the horror aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I guess that they always rag on 6 and 7 for it being too much action versus story, which I mean that's
no, it's 5 and 6 that they say that.
5 and 6, yeah, excuse me. 5 and 6, yeah, 5 and 6. I mean I played 5 and 6 with Kyle, and I mean they are a lot of action. There's a lot of action to it, but they were trying something different, trying to make it more incorporated where you can play multiplayer. And we had a good time. The game was
I love
fun.
5. I love 5.
We beat it I think at least 2 or 3 times each one. And 7, I mean I've seen 7. The demo alone was nerve-wracking. Part 2 was tough. Part 2 was phenomenal. I had my my boy on the chat, that guy Hater Mike. I had him play Part 3, and it was hilarious watching him play. It's not his cup of tea, but Part 3 had its it had the action, the dodging action sequences, which was still a derivative of the third game of the original. So I can't wait for a Part 4.
That's what we got to talk about. That's where me and Kyle's beef is at. Because Kyle doesn't want.
Well, not yet. Just to finish up on Resident Evil 8. It's interesting because we'll kind of see what happened afterwards when, like when Chris saw Ethan and Maya when they rescued him. So pretty much the canon ending, spoiler alert for Resident Evil 7. So pretty much the canon ending for Resident Evil 7 was that you save Maya. Because if there's like flashbacks of it, then because there's 2 technical endings to the game, so who hasn't played it yet?
I'm very interested to see what they do. I think Capcom's really riding on the Resident Evil. I think the Resident Evil 2 remake became way more successful than they thought. But all right, all this had to be already all this was in planning. I don't know if they thought it was going to be this successful or not. It definitely became way more successful than what most people probably thought it definitely was going to be. but they obviously, to make a remake is something that takes years. This is not something that's just like, oh, okay, Resident Evil 2 did good, so now they came out 3. 2 and 3 were pretty fucking close. And it wasn't
Yeah.
enough time in there for them to do good for Resident Evil 2 and then decide they were going to do number 3. These are all coming out, like, these have already all been in design for each other. So this is stuff that's been in the work for years, like years.
Yep.
So it's just the question is, did they know it was going to go as good as they are going, because it's going really well.
Yeah, I agree. And then it's going to be very interesting to see like the layout of Resident Evil 8 in general, because like from the leaked image, it looks like you're in a snowy village in Eastern Europe. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting for Resident Evil 8.
Well, I got a good one for you. There's I'll see if I can share the link with you guys later, but there to really get a good understanding of like the Resident Evil timeline, there's a group of gamers who spent at least 5 or 6 months doing research, and they put together a 2.5 hour video covering pretty much most of the storyline. And I'm talking about Resident Evil Revelations 1 through 7, um,
Mm-hmm.
everything. And it was just well done. And you really learn a lot, not just from Albert Wesker, but you learn about a lot of the, like, one of the bigger families who's a player, but they have, you just see so much of it, and it touches up on a lot. I ended up watching the whole thing, and I think it's something that if you don't know too much about Resident Evil, like, that would be a good video to reference to kind of just get prepared for something like part 8.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. I
That'd be
agree.
cool. That'd be. I do that sometime with TV shows. Like if I don't feel like watching the whole season, I do like a long recap. But the Resident Evil timeline can be real confusing. Like you say earlier, Albert. Like 5 and 6, 6 was very very actiony. So I can see people that complained about 6, but 5, I feel like 5 balanced it really well. And then the co-op that it had, I thought that was like the most. That was one of the most fun games I played co-op wise. Next to Gears, like. I like both of the characters. They were cool. The melee was dope. What you were fighting was dope. Where it took place was dope. I love 5. So with 8, I played 6. I didn't play 7 because I'm not big on like straight horror, like playing a straight horror game. And I knew 7 was made to scare the piss out of you. Um,
You need a
but now that
bucket next to you when you play that game.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So with 7, I'm just gonna do a recap of it so I can be ready for 8 because 8, if they're having Chris in it, then that gives me like, the excitement level and all that. So I'm like, I gotta recap. But I like the more actiony ones anyway, and then I like these new remakes because they're just making what was good old, what was good great again. So I'm cool with it. But Resident Evil, like I said, I like 5. I can't wait to see what they do with 8. And what Kyle just read got me excited. That's always a good sign. If you can read something and you're like, this sounds fire. Like he just read the rumors about 8. That got me hyped.
Mm.
I'm curious as to what vantage point they're gonna take, because one of the takeaways that I saw from watching that Resident Evil video is that I think at this point, I'm pretty sure, Chris Redfield's he's gonna be the old dog and the experienced guy. I think at one point they touched upon it in the video that he was pretty much he was pretty much ready to retire. So but I think with events that happened, kind of rekindled his passion. So that's the good thing about being able to have the Resident Evil story. It reminds me of an onion. A lot of times, a lot of people just you get caught up in just some of the basics of the virus, but then when you start playing games like 5 and 6, where they start touching upon different variations of how
Mhm.
people become infected, whether it's with a
Yeah,
parasite, not just a virus. And
yeah, that was
I'm
fire.
I'm
Uh,
really I'm
was
really
it
curious as to what they're gonna push.
was it 6 when they introduced um that the original people that had it, where it doesn't turn them to zombies? It was like a lot to do with like people that were cannibals.
Well,
That
I
was
think
4.
Was
that was
that
4,
4?
where you had to deal with Las Plagas, the
Mhm.
parasite.
Yeah.
So it was people that weren't really zombies. They were dealing with real people.
Correct.
Well, yeah, they were hosts to a parasite, and they
Mm.
spoke Spanish.
So what are they trying to say?
If you want to learn some foul language, play the game and hear it out.
Were they were they saying Spanish people were parasites? Is that what they were saying? They're being racist?
No,
Yep.
that's just the first time they introduced. You just learn a lot of you learn a few foul words in Spanish by seeing it.
That's funny. That's
It
funny.
was
I have a question for somebody that's chatting. They said that they hope RE8 is a classic. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, do you hope that they go back to a classic style of play?
who wrote
Or,
that?
Kevin
Our
Hall.
boy Kevin Hall.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious on what angle he's going with. Because if it's about like controls, I would hope to God they don't go back to classic
I think
because
he just
there's
means
nothing
that
worse
he
than
hopes that this game is like at the end is like, oh my god, that was a classic.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah,
what.
I think if you're this far into if you're this far into Resident Evil, every Resident Evil is becoming a classic, even the worst ones. You
I'm
know what I
obsessed.
mean?
I'm obsessed.
Yeah. Like
I
so I've always liked
Yeah,
the Resident Evil games. So I'm one of those ones that like I love the first one. The first one scared the shit out of me and it was a classic. That there's nothing beating that. That was the intro to Resident Evil where you had not many things going after you, but you were terrified in every room you walked into. You didn't know what was going to happen. The stuff you were reading, one of the first journals that you read in there where it was breaking it down, the guy turning into a zombie was
oh, that's classic.
absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And I think I might have been like 12 at that time that happened. Then Resident Evil 2 was the first, like, was the live action Resident Evil game where things were going on, you were getting chased. Like, that was like everything was in. I loved it. And then Resident Evil 3 is when I fell off. I never beat Resident Evil 3. I enjoyed it, but at the same time, like I never ended up beating it. And then from there on out, I followed Resident Evil. I just didn't play it.
Well, actually, I think the timing, what didn't really do Resident Evil 3 justice was the timing of the release.
Hmm.
So at that time when they were kicking over to like the PlayStation 2, they had a contract out to push another Resident Evil 3 game out on the original PlayStation.
Hmm.
mm,
So only because they were under contract to push it is the reason why that one kind of got put together and presented as the way that it did.
mm.
Because the original concept of it wasn't even supposed to be that Resident Evil 3. It was supposed to be something different. They were trying to that was the first time that they were going to try to go in a different direction, but because they were in a sense they were short on time with the PS2 and then the GameCube at that transitional phase, that's why they had to pump it out pretty quick.
You think they would have went over the shoulder in that one, BZ? You think that
No,
would have been the first one?
no, they wouldn't have gone over the shoulder because I think technology wasn't really. I mean, you could do it, but at that time it would have been. It would have been. I don't think it had. You were already pushing. The system was already to the brink of where you could push it graphics wise.
Yeah.
So I mean, when the GameCube and the PS2 and the Xbox came out, that's when you had more. You
Right.
had access to more space to be able to incorporate those graphics, but I don't think they would have been able to do it.
Well, what I'm saying is that if Capcom wasn't pushed into doing Resident Evil 3 for PlayStation 1 and went to the PS2, do you think Resident Evil 3 would have been the first over the shoulder one if it
No,
was on PS2?
no,
Okay.
I don't think so. Only because they still would have at that point they would have tried to incorporate the same type of suspense using the rough camera work that the first two had. And I just mean that, and Van knows what I'm talking about because I mean, the first Resident Evil I got into was Resident Evil 2, and I saw my buddy play that game top to bottom. He beat it in 2 hours and like 15 minutes. So
I beat the game twice. I beat it going from uh Chris to Jill, and then I beat it from Jill to Chris.
yeah, and you know what I'm talking about. The horrors of sometimes when you're trying to run through a certain angle and then it just gives you this weird this weird angle where you just can't see where the enemy's coming from, or they're
Yep.
not aiming correctly. So
Yep. That game was hard because of angling. And then the thing about that game too is it loaded your save data. So when you beat it and you started it over again, they gave you a lot of stuff to start off with, but the game was harder. So when you went to beat it the second time, it was even harder. It was crazy. It was bananas.
Hmm.
yeah, but getting back to your question, yeah, I don't think that they would have incorporated the over the shoulder at that point.
Okay. Well, I know, like, I guess the different direction they took was, during the game you could make different choices. When
Yeah,
you're playing Nemesis.
well, the original concept for 3 wasn't to incorporate Jill. They ended up making Jill the main. It's almost like they threw her in there last minute because
Gotcha.
the main character that was supposed to be for that next Resident Evil release wasn't supposed to be Jill. I forgot who it was that they were thinking about, but then they ended up putting her in there.
Hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense, especially if they got rushed. So it should be interesting. But all right, now we're in the debate time. All right, so new Resident Evil 4 remake details have reportedly been revealed. Earlier this week, multiple reports surfaced claiming that a remake of Resident Evil 4 is in development for now. Capcom has not commented on this leak, but more alleged details on the remake have surfaced. The new details come way of prominent industry insider and leaker Dust Golem, who recently took to Twitter to reveal some details that they have about the project. According to the industry insider, development of the game began back in 2018. Right now, it's apparently aiming to release in 2022, meaning it will be in development for 4 years once it releases, which means it will have a longer development time than the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. Adding to this is the fact that it will also have a larger development team than these 2 remakes, which really drives home the fact that Capcom wants to get this one right. And this makes sense. While it's not the best-selling entry in the series, it is the most beloved. Andre?
All right, so me and Kyle talked about this, and I said when Resident Evil 2 came out, and I seen the success. Mike Van said when Resident Evil 2 came out, I don't think they expected it to be that big. Then 3 before 3 was announced. After 2 was done, I said it would be real crazy if they went 3, 4, and 5. And I felt like 6 of them don't need it, but I said I could see 3, 4, and 5 being next. And then they announced 3. Then when 3 came out, I said Kyle and Van, get ready, 4 is coming. And Kyle told me there ain't no way they're gonna do 4. They should just leave it because you don't mess up a classic. But the thing to me is in the era now where streaming is so big, I've watched a lot of streams of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. And the reactions people have to being scared by um, Nemesis, especially in this third one, the reactions I've seen in these streamers and how much views they're getting from Resident Evil,
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's a great thing to see. And I feel like because it's Resident Evil, now if it was any other game, I would be like, maybe not. You're milking it too much. Like I'm not. So me and Kyle's debate is remakes in general. Like Kyle's not a big fan of them. I am. I'm a huge fan of remakes, but for me, it's depends on how they. Let me not say remakes. You say more remasters, right, Kyle? Like more of doing remasters.
No. First of all, I don't mind remakes. I don't mind remakes because if you do it right, then it's great. Like Final Fantasy VII
Yeah.
is a great remake. Resident Evil 2 was a great remake. Resident Evil 3, I still have to play it, but so far I've heard it's great. So, and it makes sense because they completely changed the engine on those ones. So,
Okay, so your problem is mainly 4 being remade, being a
right.
remake.
Right.
So for me, at first, the reason that came to my mind because the first thing that popped in my mind is the money. I mean, 2 was successful; they made crazy dough.
Yep.
3 is successful and it's making crazy dough. I have heard that a lot of people prefer 2 over 3 so far, but people still love 3. But with 4, because it is the most beloved, like Kyle just said from the article, it is the most beloved. And you don't ever want something that you love to get touched and ruined in any type of way. But I feel because the work and effort they're going to put into this, and this is before this article even came out, I just kept thinking in my mind, they know that it's the most beloved, so they have to give it that treatment like it is. So to me, it's like in this era where everybody like Kingdom Hearts is number one for doing this, where it's HD remake, HD remaster, HD point two, point 22, point 3, point 4, point. Now, when you do that, yes, it's out of control. It's ridiculous. Like they even just released another Kingdom Hearts on Xbox again after they just did the remaster, and 3 was on the Xbox before 1 and 2. So that scenario I hate. But with Resident Evil, I look at it as why not allow me to play a game to earn those achievements, to get better quality, to even stream now, where streaming is big, to even stream now, to where it opens up a possibility for 5 also because 5 was so good, but it was underrated at the time. Like it got hype, but it was underrated. So if you're just adding more features, better graphics, um, maybe some DLC content, more things you can add. I look at it as with Leon being one of the best main characters to me. I would love to see it all over again and just add in some more, scary elements. Give me that camera that they've been doing with 2 and 3, which is the divider because two and three's camera is different than what 4's would be. But I feel like 4's going to lean more to that side of doing what 2 and 3 did, just probably more actiony. But overall, I'm super hyped about it. I said it was going to happen because I know Capcom. They love milking the game. They can do it over and over, but I think Kyle should be comfortable with the fact that they just pretty much rubbed the top of your head saying, look, we're going to take care of it.
But
We're making this one
well,
take longer. We're putting
I,
effort into
I,
this one.
I got something for you. I'll put it to you this way. I think once Kyle plays through part 3, I think he'll be more optimistic about it. Because the thing is now the convenient thing about having played 2 and then 3 is that, for an example, 2 we know that they made it rely more on horror.
Mm-hmm.
Part 3, I never played the original, but from the stuff that I've read, that game, even the original, had its we have its action sequences.
Right.
And what I mean by that, Jill has her dodge, Carlos has his punch, and
Yep.
they remove certain elements. So knowing that, and once you play 3, Kyle, your opinion about 3, knowing you, is you're gonna say they got it right. You're gonna say you're gonna say, in your opinion, it's not gonna be better than 2, but when it comes to part 2, they got it right. They hit it out of the park. Part 3, they got it right for what the game was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a scenario where they could possibly mess it up for part 4, only because they have an original story, they have an original platform, but now they can just expand it. If anything, you have so much, you have original characters,
Mm-hmm.
you had a boatload of weaponry, even the way
Mm-hmm.
the system that was done. I mean, I don't see it in a situation where they can mess this one up.
You know what
It's a
made two
it's a
so good was you went from one being stuck in a mansion where you thought this was such a contained situation, you had no idea what it can grow into. And then all of a sudden part two came out and you're like, oh fuck, this is in the city. And now you're in the city, so you had that first open experience where you're like, oh man, this entire city is being shut down because this entire city is being absolutely bombarded by this virus. And then,
Mm-hmm.
like, the third one, it didn't bring anything new to the table. And that's why the third one was kind of like, meh for me. Like, I always seen 3 as a 2.5, if that makes any sense. Because
No,
all
and that
you're
makes
doing
sense.
is
So,
just getting chased by this fucking thing the entire game.
well, you know why now? Because they were under contract to finish it. So that's
Yeah.
why.
Yep.
That's why. Like, once I read that, I was like, okay, you can kind of give it that forgivable pass.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as far with 4, I mean, I don't feel. I mean, and I'll tell you, I love 4. I bought part 4 on the game. I ended up playing it on the GameCube. I
Me
got
too.
it on I got it on the PS2, on the PS3, and on the PS4. So I ended up getting.
Mm-hmm.
I literally have it on the PS4. I just bought it maybe a few months ago because
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? Let me play it again because that game was so much fun. And I mean, the game. You introduce the people with the chainsaw. Like, those guys are the most, like, they're the most heart-stopping people in Resident Evil 4. You think
Yeah.
about fighting all of the villagers, and then you just hear the revving of the chainsaw, and you're like, oh boy. business is about to pick up.
See, like for me, like it sucks because I'm such a person that's got to go through the game because I want to know the story, and I want to know the story by feeling the story. I don't want to go through the story because somebody told me it. So a perfect example that I've used on the show all the time is Uncharted and Assassin's Creed. The first one of both of those games are so bad it ruined the series for me. Now I understand Assassin's Creed is a great series, but the first one was such a slow game. Like most of the game, all you're doing is pickpocketing. Like that's what you're doing. 95% of the game, you're either sneaking and following somebody or you're pickpocketing. You know?
Yeah, that's why I agree with you. That's why I hated the Assassin's Creed series for a long time. I didn't. Part one was too slow, and I
Yep.
mean, I have Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but that's I mean, my boy hater Mike, he's the one who pushed me to get it. I saw him play it, and I mean, I was like, I could give it a chance, but the original games, I hated them. I still hate them.
But like for me, like I can't continue. I can't skip over it. Like I can't skip over it. Like I could go right to Odyssey if I wanted to, but I can't because like I want to feel the game. I want Odyssey to feel like something to me. Same thing for Uncharted. People said Uncharted 4 was one of the best games that they played, but I can't. Uncharted 1 is so bad. Everything about that game is awful. The controls are awful. I played that game for 15 minutes and didn't want to touch it ever again. Like, that game was so bad. Um,
Oh gosh, don't get
Resident
Kyle
Evil.
started.
Resident Evil, to me, like the third one didn't ruin the series because it made me want to follow it still, like pay attention to the game and still say the series was good. But like it making it a 2.5 bothered me so much because I put so much dedication and time in it, and when they came out with 3, I felt like it was again, now we all know why, but I felt like it was such a disappointment in the sense of what we just came from with part 2, and it's like now they're giving us this. Like this doesn't make sense. And then
Yeah.
after that, like I was like, well, I can't play 4 because I didn't play 3. I was like, I'll play 3 one time, and it's just like I can't play 3. I can't go back. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Right.
So, Kyle, what do you feel about it? My phone's about to die. I need to hear your take on 4.
Oh, for crying out loud. All right, so what was the major difference between original Resident Evil 2 and 3 and the remakes?
They literally they matched the stories. I mean, you have to remember that so it's a little bit convoluted because in the original story, part 3 takes place technically 24 hours before the police station is
Right.
overrun by zombies. And
Right, I get that. I understand that, but this is more of a what is the main difference between the original ones and the remakes?
nothing really. I mean, there's not going to be that much differences because the
You say gameplay? Like the gameplay,
Like-
I guess you could say a little bit.
I mean, the gameplay is going to be different because camera angle wise, but they made sure to
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. The reason why Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake work very nicely is that they rechanged the whole type of way you're supposed to play it. Like they had stationary cam in 2 and 3. Now it went to over the shoulder, which has been the mainstay since 4 in Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
My main thing is that if you go into remake Resident Evil 4, what drastical change is going to be made? Because as far as I'm seeing, not much can be changed if you go in that engine still, as far as with over the shoulder. Yes, graphically, it's going to look much better, obviously, and I totally understand that. But as far as like Resident Evil 4 still had an eerie like feel to the game. It was very eerie. Could they make it a little darker? I guess, but like the way they shot it for the original one, like they did it perfectly. Like when you go into the original village with all the Ganados, it's like you have this like eerie feeling of like, oh shit. And then you see the drivers, one's like hung, the other one's already dead. It's like you're going in like, oh god. like not knowing what the fuck's about to happen.
And then you realize that they know how to use ladders and everything else.
Then exactly. That you suddenly realize that they're actually normal people, but infected with the parasites. So now they're super strong. They climb ladders. You've got guys with a bag on their head with a chainsaw. It was nuts. And but when they changed Resident Evil 4 changed Resident Evil as far as style wise forever. Minus Resident Evil 7 that went into first person mode. My thing is, how do you totally revamp it if you go with that same type of angle?
Well, you can't necessarily assume it's gonna be revamped. You can go under the assumption that it'll get a facelift. I know that's not something that you're gonna wanna invest $60 in when you can easily say, hey, BZ, let me use the one on the PS4, relive that one with updated HD graphics. I mean, there's different ways that they can incorporate it, because I mean, one of the things you remember is that from let's say you shot him in the face, you would run up to him, do that action kick, and then knife the life out of him.
Correct.
And that was pretty much like not gonna say the bread and butter, but that was like a convenient way to get by saving bullets.
Oh, that was the easy way of getting by.
Yeah, for all there's little tweaks that you can limit, make their resistance to make resistance to the knife. Don't give them the animation of getting shot in the face. Maybe introduce another style of Ganado. There's I mean, those are all facelift type options. But I mean, going back into what you said, Resident Evil 4 didn't really change the franchise. It brought the franchise to the modern times. And it was, trust me, I know it's kind of hard to think of the angles as to where you can build upon it. But I mean, one of the things to keep an eye out is, we have to see how Resident Evil 3 Resistance is gonna be how they're gonna accept it, because if Resident Evil Resistance becomes popular, and I mean, and it's a concept where we're gonna have to play it. Resident Evil, it's similar to that Friday the 13th style thing.
It's Friday the 13th, Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, and if it becomes successful, what's to say that they're not gonna incorporate another side game like that into for when Part 4 comes out?
Oh, they
and
could.
At the same time, if this game's prepped for release in 2022, the next gen systems are gonna be there. So who knows what other possibilities they're gonna be able to expand upon it? For all they might have something. I know nothing's juicier than a beautiful timed headshot in any Resident Evil game. Maybe they can expand upon it with, let's say you shoot a leg out, give it better graphic animations when you shoot a leg. I don't know. And I'm just shooting ideas, but that they have their development.
Right.
The story's there, but they can expand upon the story. But I mean, it's just one of those things where even you, who loves Resident Evil 4, like I said, once you play Part 3, I feel like your tune's gonna change a little bit. So I mean, that'd be something that in the future, beat Part 3 within the next month, and let's revisit this and let me know what you think. Because right now, because you haven't played Part 3, you won't get the way that we see it until you actually beat the game, and you're like, okay, cool, this game's really fun. But it'll just get the wheels turning in your head, and it'll make you look forward to the remade version of Part 4.
Well, I mean,
yeah, because they turned. You gotta think they turned, Kyle. They turned 3, which people consider not bad, but the slow game, like Van said, the 2.5, and Albert, they turned one that people didn't really care about into something great. A lot of people, like I said, the biggest thing to me is seeing what the streamers are doing with these games. I didn't play 3 and I didn't play 2. I watched people play them. And the excitement and the fear that is genuinely putting into people, seeing the Nemesis reaction is probably the funniest thing I ever seen. So to me, I know what you mean, because at certain points, the worst thing is if they ruin something like Resident Evil 4. But what gives me confidence is that it will take longer than 2 and 3. And they know they know the standards. They know it's their most beloved. They know it's the big. So to me, it's just the excitement of the fact that they're acknowledging that. And they're saying, no, this needs more time.
Oh, absolutely, it's going to need more time. I mean, and let's put it this way too. Like, well, I played the shit out of Resident Evil 2 and stuff. So like, and I really enjoyed Resident Evil 2, the remake and stuff. So like, and that's kind of similar to Resident Evil 3. So I've kind of got the gist of what's going on. Like, there's more a little more mechanics in 3. I get that, but like, 2 and 3 are kind of similar in that. But the thing with 4 is that when you go into 4, the mechanics that you utilize on the zombies isn't going to be the same thing as when you're going into the village with the Ganado, because remember, like we've said, the Ganado aren't zombies. The Ganado are infected with a parasite.
Yeah.
So this is a totally different ball.
They can do something, but think about it, Kyle. They can do some real cool, unique stuff. Like almost what Elba was saying, like, you can introduce some new ones, maybe. You can introduce some crazy animations. Like, they're not going to do a spit-on image of 4. They, other than the story, I think they're going to change a lot of mechanics because they know they have to.
You'd have to, like, let's put it this way, like, you'd have to revamp mechanically, like, everything that you saw before, because again, like, if you're going with over the shoulder again, then it's going to look very similar to the original one. I'm not saying there's not going to be more technical stuff, because in the day and age that we're in, there's going to be more technical stuff. But it's like Resident Evil, like, I did the same thing Albert said. I freaking bought it on GameCube. I bought it on the 360.
Me too.
Xbox One. I freaking have it on PC. I had it on my Wii. I had it, like, every freaking thing you can think of. I've bought in Resident Evil 4.
I did the same thing.
It's a
It was the only Resident Evil. It was the Resident Evil that got me into loving Resident Evil. Actually, that's why I loved 4, and then I absolutely love 5. Even though 5 gets a lot of slack, I loved 5. Like, 5 is my favorite one. But with 4, like, well, I can't say it's my favorite. Between 4 and 5, they're my top 2. But I'm just excited because how much time it's gonna take. I want to see what they do. I'm like you. I want to see what they do with the camera. Do they make it more like 2 and 3s now? Do they make it a whole new different style? Do they, like, we don't know what the hell they're gonna do, but the fact that they're doing it, I'm gonna trust Capcom to take care of their baby, because they know that, like, even though they're getting 3's not as good as 2 according to but that's because of story, people are saying. Like, it's not even because of the game. Like, a lot of people saying it's just because of the story. 4 is considered like the best. So I think they know that. I think all you got to do is show us some mechanics, show us where you're going, give us some crazy animations like with the guns, give us some new guns, give us some chapter selection, give us some more DLC. I mean, we don't want an HD Resident Evil 4. We have that. I'm talking about a whole revamp, sexy looking Resident Evil 4. I'm down for that if they do it right. Like, that's why I told you, like, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm just more saying I'm cool with it because I'm trying to get them to push toward 5. Because I need.
But my whole thing is like,
hey, Andre, retract your statement about Resident Evil 4 being the best. I mean, about it being the best of the best when it comes to all the games. I mean, gameplay wise and mechanics wise, it's one of the best if you compare it to the originals. But the story is not like. It's not like the best story compared to like 1 or 2. So
no, I wouldn't say in the general, like for the general. I'm talking about for me, like, because that was the one that I got in. Yeah, because I didn't really mess with, like, I watched people play 1 and 2 when I was younger. Like, my brother was on those ones, and then 3, I don't even think I seen. Then 4 comes out, and I got to play, and I fall in love with Resident Evil. And like Kyle said, it might be, it was, to me, it was the door opener for Gears and stuff. So, like, that whole style, I just loved it. Even like I told Kyle and Van one time, PlayStation does this with all their games now. That over-the-shoulder joint, God of War, Horizon, all them games play with that little over-the-shoulder joint now. So with me, 4 and 5 were my favorites. I would never tell anybody that's an actual Resident Evil fan that they're the best or they have the best story. It's just those were the ones that I really got into.
No, for sure. No, and they were really good.
Yeah, my whole thing is like, I feel like Resident Evil 4 today could be played really well.
Yeah,
like, I think graphically, I think it's aged perfectly.
Yeah,
over
it did.
not perfect, obviously not perfectly, but I think
It
it's
still
aged
looks
well
good.
enough.
It still looks
It
good.
still looks good to where you can play it like religiously. Like I would still play it religiously today. I just don't think like you have to touch it. Like I don't think it's like, and the other thing too is like I don't want Capcom to get into this mode of like you have to keep remaking, because now you're just rehashing everything, trying to, and it's being a money grabber, which I understand as a business you should do that, but I don't know. I just feel like if you keep doing it, like it's
We
gonna
get to a point that there's
Hey
games that don't
Kyle,
need
it's
to
right
be
here.
remade. You know what I mean? Like Final
Correct.
Fantasy VII was an incredible game, but realistically, like that game needs to be remade. Like
correct.
the graphically, like that game was just not. If you didn't live in that time and appreciate the games for what it was, that's something that I've told you. That game did not age very well. So for games that didn't age very well, definitely need that revamp. But we're getting to a point in a lot of these games spans that you have to stop. And Resident Evil is one of those because then at what point do you stop remaking the games? You don't have to remake them anymore. You know, the first couple ones, yeah, definitely, because the mechanics were so bad that it might not age very well.
Right.
And you can remake it and people will be like, oh my God, it's reventing this game. Final Fantasy VII, the mechanics were so bad. Not so bad. The mechanics were legendary and created what we have today. But like the graphic wise and visually and everything, to make that into it's a whole new game. It's like a whole new game. And that's what people appreciate. But then you're going to get to a point where you're just remaking it to remake it now.
Correct. Right. And that's what I kind of feel like Capcom's doing, getting into 4, because now Andre just said, like, well, let's do 5. Well, now we're getting into the 360 era and we're making a 360 era game. Now, I know it was 15 years ago. I get it. But, like, it's like you have to stop somewhere. Like 2 and 3 made sense. To me, now you're getting into a thing where it's like, does it really make sense to be remaking it now? I mean, we'll see. It's not like if it gets announced, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. But like, I don't know. It's just like I feel like 4 was just so good that you could leave it alone and it'll be fine. It'll be fine 10 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my opinion on it. On that. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, so I got to ask you a question since we broke into the Nintendo 64, something that we talked about. We talked about the remake of the Mario games. And before everyone was cool about Mario 64.
Yeah.
So would you say Mario 64 needs it? So
No.
obviously there's a difference between Mario 64 and Resident Evil 5, but has Resident Evil 5 utilized the graphics a lot better for the Nintendo 64 than what Mario did at that time?
Well, Resident Evil 5 was like 360.
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry,
But like, oh no, but I know what you're saying. Like, should 64 be remade? The answer to that is no, because it's already been remade back on the 3DS or the DS, either one. But like that game, I think is just now it's okay. It was remade on the DS. We don't really need to do a 64 anymore. But a game like Sunshine, maybe. I mean, that's another game that's aged very well that I don't think needs to be. I mean, that's different though. It's going to be remastered, so it's going to look a little bit better. But like graphically, it's going to look better. But like mechanically, it's just going to be the same game. These are going to be remasters, not going to be remakes. So that's like a totally different thing.
I think we lost Andre.
Yeah, I think his phone died.
Yeah.
But like the Mario games, those are again, like I said, it's going to be remastered. So totally different thing we're talking about here. So Sunshine, yeah, I think so. Galaxy, absolutely. Even though you could put it on the Switch the way it was on the Wii, and it will look very pretty still.
Yeah. That's why, like, you just kind of repush those. You don't remake them.
No, those games you don't remake. You remaster.
Yeah.
Well, or you make a part 2 out of it.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Galaxy did have part 2. There was Galaxy 2.
Yeah, you make a Galaxy.
Well,
3
it's always safe. It's safe to assume that they could push out a 3 because I mean, look at Luigi's Mansion 3. It was received phenomenally.
Oh no, absolutely. Well, the thing is, like, if you're gonna make Galaxy 3, you kind of have to. I don't know. Do you play off of like having Cappy in this one now from Odyssey? Because now Cappy, arguably, is the best power up we've ever had in a Mario.
Bullet Bill.
Very close to Raccoon.
Very close. Oh, the Tanuki.
Very close.
No,
But like, yeah, but like,
the hat is better than the than Tanuki.
oh, I
I
agree.
I love Tanuki, man. I love Tanuki.
Everybody loves the Tanuki suit, but let's be realistic here.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Cappy is the best power up ever in a Mario game.
You take over a T-Rex on the first level. Come on.
Exactly. I know the cape is great in Super
And he has
Mario,
a mustache.
and he has a mustache on the dinosaur. And I know,
He has a mustache.
and I know the cape is a wonderful power up in Super Mario World. That might arguably be to some people the best power up, but Cappy turn into things with Cappy.
Dude,
Turn into a bullet bill.
the cape was so good it made me mad because like I could beat stages in seconds with that cap with the cape.
Yeah, I would like cheating.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? So it was so good, like it frustrated me that we had it because of course I'm going to use it. Like I used it over everything. So it's just like it's one of those power ups that you're mad they made it because you know you're going to use it all the time.
Right.
It's just like, well, it's there, I'm going to use it, but I'm mad that I'm using it.
Let me ask you a question now that we're kind of touched upon Mario. You with all the success of all the Mario games that have come out over the last 2 decades, do you feel that Super Mario World now it's almost like it's a game that because we're always going to talk about different Mario games and different successes.
Mhm.
Do you feel like Super Mario World now has become almost underrated?
I don't think so. I think Super Mario World is one of those timeless games. It was a video game that was made perfect. That no matter what year, what generation you ever play in, that game is flawless the way it is. And that was what Super Nintendo had, and that's what makes Super Nintendo so great, is that they're making games now that still look like those graphics that people love and anything before it looks too bitty, and anything little bit after that looks bad. So we're talking like Nintendo 64. There's a lot of bad looking games for Nintendo 64. There's a lot of bad games. Good night, buddy. I love you. There's a lot of bad looking games for PlayStation 1. Like one thing that we talked about a lot was a game concept that should have never remade. It's a classic was PlayStation. Like don't do that. Don't do that because it just the games look bad. They didn't age very well. So Super Nintendo is that perfect line, and then Super Mario World was that perfect game. So I think like that's something that will live on forever. So anytime I talk about that, like even when you make the new Super Mario World, it's still very similar to what Super Mario World looks like. They just made it 3D. And then
So
they never had to really touch it up at all.
can I throw in a recommended topic for next week? And
Yeah,
this is
sure.
something we could each make our own little list and kind of discuss it. How about we each make our own Mario Mount Rushmore of Mario, and this is and it'll be each your own personal opinion. So if you think, let's say, Mario Kart 64, Mario Sunshine,
Well,
Luigi's Mansion.
I mean, now we're diving into like Mario Kart and like those games.
Well, no. Let's make a Mario Mount Rushmore for next week. Just as a small, if you guys want to incorporate it for a small little topic. I think it's like it's always interesting, and I think it would be an interesting topic because I feel like each of our answers, some of them would be the same, and I feel like some of them would be a little different. So
Hmm.
I'm curious. I'd be curious to see like if next week we kind of did a little Mount Rushmore just to kind of see what your choices are and see who makes the list, who doesn't.
We've talked about Mario games, but I can't say that we've ever talked about all Mario games. Like we never included like Mario Kart, Dr. Mario. So like it would be interesting to see what games people would put up there.
Well,
Because like
yeah,
to me, Dr. Mario was one of my favorite Mario games. I greatly enjoyed Dr. Mario because I was a Tetris guy. So it'd be very interesting to see, now you add Mario Kart, where would that be on Kyle's list over some of the other Mario games? So I think that would be very interesting.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if we were to do it, like, we have to we would set ground rules. Like, are we doing every single type of Mario game, or
I
are
would.
we sticking to the adventure
Yes.
stuff?
No, every single Mario game, and it's your own personal Mount Rushmore.
So every single type of Mario game. So that includes Mario Kart, Strikers, golf, tennis,
Yep.
hotel.
The only thing that you probably wouldn't include, if I had to just put something, I would probably just not include a Smash Brothers game. No Smash Brothers games.
That's not a Mario game.
Okay.
That's
Well, I
not.
mean, he's a prominent character, so I mean, it's just the kind of.
I get that, but like Smash Bros is a totally different thing. That's not a Mario game, because then technically you can say, well, that's a Zelda game and a Metroid game and this and that and this and that. So
Perfect.
Smash Bros is its own. Smash Bros is its own thing.
Yeah. That's something different. That's not a Mario game.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Well, I think we had a very strong show today. So, was there anything that you guys wanted to end it with?
I gotta build more stuff in Animal Crossing because I had to take all my Bunny Day shit down.
Well, what's the next? Do you guys know what? Oh, when's Ghost of Tsushima coming out? June.
If it comes out,
I think it's supposed to be June.
supposed to be June. Yeah, that's if it comes out.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I really don't have anything else to chime in. I mean, I'm happy with everything that we have now. There's still a lot to play.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next big, I don't know, the next fun multiplayer that we can all get together and play and just be like, okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, Animal Crossing is that right now, I feel like, but
It's such a different thing. Like it's not like that, like a Call of Duty multiplayer where you're like, hey, let's get together, let's all get on. Like Animal Crossing is just like anyone can join at any time. Don't have to be it's not the connection. You know what I mean? It's not that connection game. I can't wait to see that next multiplayer connection game that gets everyone to be like, we need to play this right now together.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like right now a lot of people have come back from the grave for that Warzone game. I mean, I haven't played it personally, but
It's cool. It's not bad. I don't mind it. It's just hasn't. My friend Matt plays it all the time, and it hasn't got me to rush to my system. I'd rather play Final Fantasy VII.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, that's it for us today, guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Albert, for hopping on. Hopefully, you can make it on with us next week so we can talk that Mario
Oh yeah, you're
Rushmore.
right. I will definitely be there. No, thank you guys for having me.
Fantastic. Andre says goodbye, even though Andre's phone's dead, so he wasn't able to
Already said
sign on with
goodbye.
us. Yeah, he did.
I got all the chats up, and I don't know where he is. It's probably
Yeah, his phone's dead.
he did. He died during the.
But that's it for us. That's it for us today. Catch us next Thursday, same time, same channel. Until then, guys, see you later. Peace.